what will be the best way to avoid the most costly mistakes? Alright, again. Hey, good morning. Are you wondering what are the most costly mistakes homeowners do when they are remodeling their projects or the home projects? So I'm gonna talk about them, and also I'm gonna share a couple of tips with you guys how to avoid them. So this is what I see over and over the years. Alright, let's dive in. Alright, the most costly mistake is not having a solid plan, and also not having a solid vision what space is gonna look like. And for that purpose, I'm gonna share with you a 360 render about this project, what it should look like, and a couple of tips on how to get there, and also if you are early starting the process, how can you get there. All right, so one of the most costly mistake it is that not having a full picture what space gonna look like. Even though you got plans, even though you guys have structural plans, you can't really imagine what the final result's gonna look like. Now also I see some other families, they haven't even decided to get a floor plans. Just a quick floor plan by sketch. Uh, as a homeowner you can apply for permits, not for the bigger scale renovations, but at least for the small one, and then start the project without knowing what's the end goal. Like what type of cabins I'm gonna put it. Just starting that, you know what, we're gonna just pick cabinets as we go there, as the dimensions comes through, we're gonna come up with something. That's the most dangerous decision you can make, because what's gonna happen is you don't really know what's gonna fit there, what's gonna look good with what. So not having a solid design is one of the biggest mistakes. Now, and a friend to me, an architect, said to me that Freddie, design will happen either on the beginning, that when you pre-plan like this, you see right here, this is actually a kitchen, and just to give you some context right here, this right here, this is where the houses was ending, the kitchen was ending right here. Now this family would like to have just a little bigger kitchen, so expand the kitchen, but you don't really know how it's gonna look like. In this case, there's a beam below there, you don't really see it, but it's above, but that's what open ceiling will look like. Now if we wanna make it less expensive, we can put the beam below. That's gonna be a little less work to do the beam, it's gonna be a little less costly, but I don't think that will look good in here. So a flash ceiling will be the best. So that's one of the biggest decisions I see homeowners make, especially when they are early on the having a house, when they are like a first project, couple of projects. They just started as, you know what, let me just find the guy, and then we just decide as we go. For example, we pick the tile as we get to the tile place. So again, very costly. The reason again is you don't really know how much you need, you don't really know what you budget for, you don't really know like what you hoping to spend. Now for example, if you're hoping to spend $20,000 in your bathroom remodeling, and then by the time you pick the material it's 30,000, 40,000, you're not gonna be happy. And now imagine like this, you only have 20,000, but your bathroom really is 40,000, now you're halfway up. What's gonna happen then? Probably you're gonna have to sacrifice some decisions. Now imagine if you could avoid that early in the process and then plan for it. And you know what, this bathroom is gonna be X, and then I don't have the money right now, let me save it to make sure next year is gonna happen, and then once you start, it's done. Then you don't have to rag the project for so many months. Alright, next also big mistake I see is that same idea with the design of the final picture is the budget. The budget should look something like this, a full breakdown, for everything should be in and the budget should be from the rough material to the labor part to the finish selections. The reason for that is you really have an idea what's gonna look like, what you're gonna put in the bathroom, and how much does it cost. That's very important, because now you know what you're gonna put in your bathroom or your kitchen on your full home remodeling. You're gonna like what you put in there. So that's very important. Two very factors that I see that a lot of families kind of have a hard time into it is trying to picture that. Now the process a little bit more intense in the beginning, but it's easier in the long term. Now I'm gonna just share with you one example. I had a family reach out to me about, I think, a month ago now. They are 5 years in construction. The first contractor went out of business, so he took some money and did some of the bigger job, the framing, and it was big renovation. And then he went out of business. Now the customer is, you need to find somebody else to keep going with the job. So he finds somebody else, and then something happened to this constructor family that he had to pull out from the job site. Now imagine this: 5 years on construction, 5 years having to pay mortgage for this property, and also having to pay rent somebody else. That this family is very frustrated. And once I talked to this family, I understood exactly what was the problem. Even though they had a plans for everything, they didn't have a solid design and solid selections and solid plan. What's going to be final cost for this project? What's it really going to look like? Like, they didn't have that. And when I talked to them, they were kind of in the position that, Freddie, I'm not too worried about it. We will pick as we go. So from my experience, that does not really work 99%. So you know what? Let's finalize everything. Let's find out how much things gonna cost. Let me understand your test. Let me understand what's your expectation when it comes to the cabinets, to the appliances, to the trim work. Because we can really do beautiful trim work around the house. It's gonna cost a lot of money. Or we can do more basic trim work. It's still gonna be nice. Still gonna look beautiful, but we can spend less. So all of those decisions has to be made right in the beginning. With those information in place, it's gonna be so much easier to do renovation. Plus, you're gonna have the best relationship with your constructor, which is the most important thing. So at the end, you're gonna have friend for the rest of your life. Now let me just open up full screen. You're gonna have friend for the rest of your life, and if something happens in your home, you have somebody to go to because you build this relationship and everything was up to expectations. And here's the cool thing also: once you go through that process, for example, in this case, my team knows exactly what the space is gonna look like. I don't have to tell them because the picture will tell them. For example, even doorknobs right here. If you see, there is a handle and there is a door. What's the terminology for this knobs? Yeah. So handles and knobs. So you see right here, that's what's gonna look like. So now the homeowners approve that, they love that. Now my team can really build that, and there is no miscommunication, there is no misunderstanding. Just imagine one thing. For example, the doorknobs right here. If they cost me like to put it right in the bottom, which most of the times we put them, and my team told us the best position for it, and the homeowner thought it's not the best position for it. Now we're gonna just damage the doors. So those little things like that, it really at the end makes it easy for homeowner. With this picture, with this render, the homeowner knows what the fixture is gonna look like, how it's gonna work with the countertop, how it's gonna work with the cabinet, how it's gonna work with the floors, with the windows, with everything else. So this is the power of the design and the 3D render, and this is this money saving. Because at the end, if you make one wrong decision, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. I'm gonna just put a very simple example. If you pick the wrong light, you think it's gonna look great, but you can't really see in the space how it looks. You order this light, it's beautiful. Then when you put it, you don't like it. Now we have to send it back, order a new one. Now we have to pay the electrician to this month and then month new one. It's not only the time involved, it's the cost involved. Now let me just put a more critical. For example, this kitchen. See this cabinet right here? For example, if we don't go through the render process or the design process, and this is how we have to do it, but through the render process, is that you see a blue cabinet and just an idea, whatever, you think it's gonna look great, but you can't really actually see it. You think it's gonna look good. What happens if we install them and then you don't like when it's installed? Especially kitchen cabinets, as most of them they are custom order, they can't really take it back. So if they take it back, it's gonna be very costly. So now imagine we have to dismount the entire cabinets and then mount it again. You know how expensive that could be. So again, you just go to the extra mile. You just design it. Build it in 3D the way you can actually see it. And also going to the next thing I just talked to you earlier was the budgeting. The budgeting should be like you should be able to understand the budgeting even though you don't do construction. It should be easy for you to understand where your money is going. For example, this right here is for It's for a home addition. It is very detailed because it's, I think, $492,000 project. But let me just go to the windows right here, right? Really understand what you're getting for the windows, what you're paying for it. Now I'll be open with you. We do mark up 10% of every cost. If something costs you $100, we do charge you 110. We don't upsell the product. We just charge a little extra to cover the expenses because we gotta do the render, we gotta pay our staff, we gotta cover the bills, and some of that it comes out from the material. But here's the cool thing. Now with that, I don't have to be hiding what I do markup. I am very open and transparent, and most of the times we work with, they're okay with it. So when it comes to the final finishes and the expensive part, let me just go all the way down here. For example, right here, if you see the faucet right here, there's a link for it, and then you can go to the link and you can actually see the price. You can see the options of the colors, and here's the crazy thing. For example, if you go in just chrome color, it is 481.96. If you go to black color, it's 601. So it's right there is $200 jump just because of the color. So all of those things help you to build a budget and say, okay, I like this, but it's gonna be X, or we can do this, it's gonna be less. So things like that. It just help the innovation to be more successful. Um, here's the sink. Here's the appliances. So right here is the appliance, is the refrigerator, and here's the cost. Here is the brand. Here is the basically the entire specifications. You can really see the product, and all of those things are linked into the budget. So the way you can really understand what things cost. Now again, not make this live too long, and hopefully this is information to you guys. Hopefully this bring you some value, and to make your renovation more successful and make it easy for you guys. What I will do is I will just ask my constructor, your constructor, hey, what will take for us to get this type of detail? And this is not only going to save you a headache, it's also going to save the constructor a problem. Why? Because when you push to have this type of detail on the budget, we as a constructor, me as a contractor, we didn't have this process in place before. I miss a lot of light items. For example, the back door we didn't put in there. Some little items we didn't put in there. Now when we have to do it, the homeowner inspector is gonna be there. We didn't put that in the budget. Now we have to assume that price and that cost, and that basically that's costing us to do the project. You know, once we have to build a budget like this, now really push us to put every detail into the budget because we know we need this to produce this job. So it just helps everybody, helps the constructor really be more solid into the numbers. Now at this point you can compare apples to apples. If you have multiple uh, proposals or quotes or however you want to call them, now you can compare apples to apples, and you can really see, okay, where my money is going. All right, thanks so much for the support. Thank you so much for staying with me. Now I'm trying to do in two channels, YouTube and Facebook. The whole idea is to bring enough value, enough information for you to make the best decision for your home renovation. Now, probably if you think, Freddy, this is a big renovation, what about if just a bathroom remodeling? That's a great question. So let's just take a look at bathroom remodeling. But before that, I'm just gonna share with you what the final document should look like. For example, here's the floor layout. This is what the layout look like after, building the options. Here is the links for all the renderings. For example, from the bedrooms, how the windows should look like. Here's the closet, like everything in 3D. You can actually see what space gonna fit. And here's the cool thing: you can tweak it when it comes to the windows. At this step, to tweak it is so much cheaper. So you say, no, Freddy, let's do different windows. Perfect. Let me see if I have any other render I can show it to you very quickly. Alright, so let's see this. I think I love this common bathroom. It's very, very beautiful. See that wallpaper is coming from Canada, but it's beautiful. I just love this bathroom. It's a lot of detail. It's a common bathroom. It's small, but it's just, to me, it has a lot of woodwork. Really goes nice with the house. Look at the finishes. I think this is great. I love this project. And let me see if I can pull out just a bathroom remodeling. Can't take a real project. Alright, so when I just go right here, so we don't be sharing personal information, just so you know. But this is another bathroom remodel we're gonna be starting in about 2 to 3 weeks. Actually, this is somebody I know that helped me out a ton with my company, my own company. So it's love that somebody helped me my company do the rebranding. We're gonna be doing our work for them. So this is just amazing. I'm super excited about it. So this is a bathroom remodel we're gonna be doing in about 3 weeks. So this is what it look like. Here's the vanity. Here's the fixtures. Here is the some of the selections they have in mind. So, but right here you can actually see it. What the space is gonna look like. This is just for a bathroom remodeling. Anyway, this bathroom is not that old. This is only 35 years old bathroom we're gonna be renovating. So the entire plumbing, electric system, we don't have to upgrade it. Now we do put in an extra light, but we don't have to run new light all the way to the main line, or we don't have to change the entire stack or upgrade the entire plumbing system below the floor. So it's a little bit less work and obviously a little less expensive. All right, let me see if I can pull that out. The budget for this project. Right, look at that right here. Start from permits for this bathroom, because again, there's not that much work on the permits. We still gotta pull out permits. This is what it's gonna look like. Oh, it's all five. I should have got to mesh. I'm supposed to go to mass. Finish the live quickly. And here's the demo part. Here's the plumbing part. This is what it's gonna look like. And here's the electric part, the waterproofing part, which is very crucial. Waterproof is one of the most important thing on the bathrooms, and for that we really follow like 3 steps to make sure that it's never gonna have water in there. So we do I want plastic, then synthetic stuff, and then regard the paint that goes over everything, just to make waterproof everything. So um, here's the tiling, and let me show you the final selections for a bathroom. This is for a smaller project. Here's the tile, bathroom floor tile. So right here you can see actually what you pay per square foot. Again, we do mark up 10% on every material. So if you go straight to the store, just minus 10% of that. That's what you pay. But with that 10%, we handle everything. You don't have to worry about anything. So everything is right here in the budget. So you know where the money is going. All the finishes, all your selections, the faucet, the mirror, the lights, everything is right here. Alright, again, thanks so much for the support. I hope this was helpful, and you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I can talk about something else now. If you guys want to learn something about a specific situation, I would love to know more about it, so I can really talk about that specific situation. And again, from your questions, somebody else will learn. The main goal here at WeWork Remodeling is to make sure you have the most grateful experience with the renovation. When it's done and finished, you'll be happy with the space. Because at the end, we just don't renovate spaces. We build spaces where memories is gonna be built, where families gonna build memories. And the whole idea is to make that experience easier. And when it's done and finished, you'll love your space. You guys take care. Thanks so much for the support. This is the first time I'm using this channel to kind of do live stream in 2 channels. So we're looking forward to make it better and bring more information to you guys.